For tomorrow's health, here's Ashley Morrison.
Up to 80% of strokes are preventable with lifestyle changes. The American Heart Association looked at the most effective ways to prevent a first stroke. Good nutrition, staying active, and quitting smoking are at the top of the list. The report also recommends you get screened for stroke risk and take medications to manage your cardiovascular health if recommended by a doctor. Black patients are 22% more likely to die after a coronary bypass surgery than other racial groups. The American Society of Anesthesiologists found that on average, Black patients also stayed in the hospital longer after surgery. The study says governments and healthcare systems need to improve access to care and do more to address obesity, which disproportionately affects Black and Hispanic patients. And exercise can help women who experience brain fog after chemotherapy. A study looked at the decreased ability to remember and concentrate that some women report after receiving chemotherapy. Women who did regular aerobic exercise showed improved cognitive functioning. Those are some of the day's top health stories. For tomorrow's health, I'm Ashley Morrison.